Doug Gottlieb is one of the most annoying sports analysts that I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, he is annoying as hell. And I don't see, if you working with him, how you won't have friction with him at some point, right? Because he acts like your whole existence is a waste of space if he disagrees with something that you says. He snark as hell, super snark. Like, so I promise y'all, to the point where if he was your coworker, like if he was my coworker, I probably would have had to choke him or some or choke him or slap him at some point, because his tone of voice about certain topics is very, very disrespectful. He is incredibly condescending, and he think he know every damn thing. He think he knows everything. He know everything there is to know about life and everything, and he got a whole punk ass vibe about him that I just do not like. Like, he strike me as a person that's always trying to make headlines in everything he do. It don't matter what it is. He want to make headlines. He want to get people talking. So he just say disrespectful, off the wall stuff at the absolute worst times to do it, right? Case in point, yesterday, NBA Hall of Fame coach Jerry Sloan. Everybody found out that he passed away yesterday, unfortunately, right? And before the world could send out their condolences regarding Jerry Sloan and everything, here come Doug. This the tweet that Doug puts out to the world, right? He tweeted a hot take about how Jerry Sloan lived a long time with Darren Williams knife in his back, right? Because him and Darren Williams had friction at one point to where Darren Williams had to get traded. So I'm looking like, well, damn, Darren and Jerry Sloan reconciled with each other. So Doug, why the hell you out here trying to reach and make headlines in the wake of this man's death? Like, why are you doing that? Just looking for attention at all the wrong times, inconsiderate as hell to this man's legacy and his family. He's trying to talk about Darren Williams, his beef with Darren Williams, and how Darren Williams did him dirty or whatever. Like, fam, like, no, this is not the time for that. Just looking for any type of hot take he can get to try to get some type of noise or something like that. And I remember, speaking of saying things at the wrong time, I remember when Andrew Luck retired, after like the game of football taking a toll on his body and his health and everything, right? And then Doug Gottlieb comes out of the blue and tweets, retiring because rehabbing is too hard is the most millennial thing ever. Hashtag Andrew Luck. See, that's the bullshit I'm talking about with Doug Gottlieb. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm sitting here when he tweeted that. All I'm wondering is, fam, how often do you lacerate your kidneys while you do your radio show? How often do you have all these nagging injuries? How often do you got to rehab while you sitting and doing your radio show, talking stuff on the airways? Like, how tough are you? You know what I mean? And he trying to suggest that Andrew Luck isn't as tough as you or the men back in your day because he chose to retire and keep his health in good condition for his family. Like, you trying to say he's not as tough as y'all, or he weak in some type of sense because he chose to retire instead of he lacerating kidneys, trying to come back all the time. Man, if you don't get your ass out of here, bro, for real, and then using the millennials label as a way to be derogatory towards Andrew Luck. Really, fam? Really? I find that quite funny that he trying to belittle Andrew Luck with that whole millennials tag, right? Because Doug, I guess you stealing those credit cards instead of working hard for some money is the most Generation X thing to do, right? You stealing all them people credit cards. You was out here credit card fraud and stealing folks credit cards left and right. So I guess you doing that instead of working hard is really the most Generation X thing you ever could have did. Like, man, like, dude is a clown. He a clown. And then I recently saw that Doug tweet about, how the idea that the NFL, because this is the whole thing, right? Somebody, I'm not sure who it was tweeting about how Deshaun Watson, well, the Bears declined Mitch Trubisky's option, right, in his fifth year, right? And somebody was talking about how, the Bears had a chance to draft Deshaun Watson coming off, winning a national championship. And we chose to trade up to get Mitch Trubisky. And he was talking about how, race comes into a factor when it comes to evaluating quarterbacks and, the stereotypes of certain quarterbacks, right? And Doug comes out and says that the idea that the NFL or an NFL franchise evaluates a quarterback on race in 2020 is just dumb, disconnected bitterness from 40-year-old transgressions. Like, fam, I don't give a damn how many black quarterbacks you see being successful in the NFL as of late. To act like race does not come into play with the quarterback position is discussed It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely naive as hell for you to think that race don't come into play when we talking about the quarterback position in the NFL. You got to be dumb if you say it don't come into play, because there is no way in hell I would have watched Deshaun Watson shred and carve Nick Saban's defense like a Thanksgiving turkey. After watching him do that to Nick Saban's defense, the Alabama defense, would I say, nah, I don't want Deshaun Watson. I'm gonna go with Mitch Trubisky. Who the hell, fam? I didn't even know who the hell Mitch Trubisky was, for real, for real. I did not know who he was, truthfully, until draft time. And then, hold on. Mitch Trubisky struggled to win a starting job at North Carolina. At North Carolina, which is not a traditional football powerhouse. They weren't known for basketball. He struggled to win a job there. I'm not, fam, I wouldn't, there's no way in hell I'm looking at Mitch Trubisky. Hell no. Give me that guy right there, Deshaun Watson. That's what I want. I want him. I'm not trying to get Mitch Trubisky, fam. He can't even throw downfield, which is the Bears' problem right now. But you tell me what that was about. What was it about any other thing? Because it can't be the intangibles. And I'm like, nah, fam. There's no way you can look at Deshaun Watson and look at Mitchell Trubisky and say, man, Mitchell Trubisky just a better quarterback. There is no way. And it had nothing to do with character issues. Deshaun Watson don't got no issues with character or nothing. So what was it? Right? But see, Doug, one of them mugs, he one of them people that feel like racism doesn't exist in sports because he say so. Right? Bro, who the fuck are you? Who the hell are you, bro? For real. And see, he think it's dumb to think that race comes into play at all with any of it. Like, bro, get your ass up out of here, bro. Mitchell Trubisky played 13 games as a starter in his career. Deshaun Watson won a national championship and damn near beat Alabama the other year, right? And he was the clear winner in why they won. He was the clear reason why they won the national championship. I mean, Clemson was a good team, but we know that Deshaun Watson was the straw that stirred the drink, and yet and still, Doug talking about this idiotic and dumb, like acting like when we make these observations that we stupid. We don't know what we watching. We stupid as hell. We dumb. We don't know what we talking about. And like, bro, get your ass. Like, I'm telling you, dude is annoying as hell. And then he be real condescending and snark with the way he says things to make it seem like you just don't know what you talking about and you one of the dumbest people to ever walk earth. Bro, get your ass. Like, I promise y'all, dude is annoying as hell. And the Bears still, look, they paying for it. Look at how Mitchell Trubisky been playing. He can't throw the ball downfield at all. He can't. He overthrow receivers, underthrow receivers all the time. Has not advanced at all. That's why we in the predicament that we in right now. You know what I mean? And Doug spent all night on Twitter trying to refute race being a factor in general managers picking of quarterbacks. He spent all night and he was up there talking about, well, Mitchell Trubisky plays exactly how, the black quarterback is stereotyped as playing. So, and the Bears drafted him, so what does it have to do about race? Yes, Doug, the Bears did draft Mitchell Trubisky, who plays how the black quarterback is stereotyped as playing. But now ask yourself this, right? If Mitchell Trubisky had the talent of Deshaun Watson, and Deshaun Watson had the talent of Mitchell Trubisky, would Deshaun have been taken ahead of Mitch, right? If Mitch was tearing Nick Saban's defense to shreds in a national championship game, if Mitch was doing that, would he have fell in the draft? Would Mitchell Trubisky have failed in the draft? Would somebody would have got picked over Mitch? If he did what Deshaun Watson did, would you have drafted? If they switched places, would you have drafted? Would anybody have drafted Deshaun Watson over Mitch if they traded places and they had if their accomplishments swapped places? Hell no. And you know that. But Doug, one of them white guys that think he's one of them white guys that's more sensitive to racism being talked about than he is to actual racism. And he don't want to talk about it. He want to act like it don't exist or it's just dumb to even talk about it, right? Then I remember when Bob McNair, he made a comment about, the whole comment about you don't want the inmates running the prison in regards to NFL owners and NFL players, right? And their star receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, he took issue with it. And then Doug Gottlieb suggested that DeAndre Hopkins is somehow, he's not smart enough to get the nuance of Bob McNair's inmate quote. Like, bro, how the fuck do you know about that man's intelligence level, Doug? How? You calling that man dumb? You calling that man dumb for real? You really choosing to call that man dumb? Seriously? That's what you really want to do? And see, this is why reporters like Doug Gottlieb get threatened all the time, or they get met with aggression when they talking to people. Because they don't know how to talk about people. They disrespectful as hell. They come across as know-it-alls and, acting like you just this elitist over everybody. And well, Doug, when he said he said DeAndre Hopkins was not smart enough to get the nuance of what Bob McNair was saying. Well, Doug, I guess you wasn't smart enough to think you wasn't gonna get caught when you was stealing them people credit cards. When you was out here stealing credit cards left and right, I guess you weren't smart enough to think you was gonna get caught eventually, right? You wasn't smart enough to think that through when you was stealing people credit cards all the time. Come on, fam, and dude is just super condescending. He's annoying as hell. He think he know everything, and he try to put people down when they talk about something like you just don't know what you're talking about. It's idiotic and all that. Using words like you idiotic and all that. Like, fam, who is you talking to? Like, I promise y'all, I don't see how he hasn't. I don't know if he has or hasn't, but if I'm sure it's somebody that he worked with that probably want to choke him or knock him out or whoop his ass in some sense. For real, because the stuff he get away with saying, and I'm like, bro, who is you talking about, bro? Like, I promise y'all, and I remember when Troy Aikman came at his head for them comments about Andrew Luck. Like, Doug, who the hell is you? Who are you? And Doug, everybody started bringing up Doug stealing them credit cards. He was blocking folks left and right. Yeah, it don't feel good when you out here you talking shit on people's name all the time, and talking crazy about folks, being super condescending, but you don't want nobody to be condescending towards you, right? You don't want nobody to be snark towards you, but you got that whole sentiment about yourself. It's all in his demeanor. He just think he is a elitist over everybody, and if you think wrong from him, you just don't know what you're talking about, and you dumb and you idiotic, and you just a waste of entire space. That's how he comes across. And somebody gonna meet him with static. Cause I'm sitting here every time he say something, I'm be like, look at this motherfucker here, boy. Like, he just don't get it. He don't get it. But he one of the most annoying sports analysts I've ever watched in my life. And I promise y'all, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not wishing it on him, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody choke him out. One of these athletes or somebody choke him out or slap him, or maybe a reporter, because he just got a disrespectful vibe about him. Just a whole punk ass vibe about him. Like, you just got to pull his card one time because he's just super, super disrespectful. And he's, what my man say, Charlie Murphy, he's a habitual line stepper. Rest in peace to the late great Charlie Murphy too. But nah, and he ain't, he's not he's not a line stepper in a funny way or a comical way. Nah, he habitually like steps over the line to make headlines and to be disrespectful. But he don't want no disrespect coming back to him. Nah, bro. Get dude up out of here. I'm tired of dude, for real. Machiavelli Mills TV. Peace.